ISTIANJOHNSON.
Where do you work?
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Would it be fair to call you then Agent Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you been with the GBI?
Been with the GBI almost 7 years.
And in what capacity are you with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation?
I'm assigned as a special agent.
And did you work in law enforcement before you joined the GBI?
I did.
Where did you work?
The Dalton Police Department.
How long were you there?
Nearly 3 years.
So it would be fair to say about how long total?
9 years will be September.
Okay. And did you receive specialized training to become a law enforcement officer with the Dalton Police Department?
I did.
And subsequent to that, when you joined the GBI, did you receive additional GBI agent training?
I did.
Did you pass and qualify in both of those capacities?
Yes, I did.
And as a result, when you joined the GBI, did there come a time when you became assigned to a field office?
Yes, that's correct.
Where do you work?
Now I'm assigned to the Region 1 Field Office in Calhoun. However, I spent the majority of my career at the Region 5 Field Office in Statesboro.
During that time period, when were you assigned to the Statesboro office?
That would have been in January of 2019 until this past January.
So you left in this past January?
That's correct.
You said you're still with the GBI?
Yes, ma'am. Still with the GBI, just another field office.
Okay. And while in your capacity as a special agent with the GBI in Region 5, did you have occasion to work with Special Agent Tracy Sands in conjunction with this case?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury what role you played in connection with this investigation?
Essentially, my role was that of a supporting agent. I wrote any of the search warrants to obtain records in this case.
Can you tell the jury what a search warrant is?
Yes, ma'am. So essentially, a search warrant is a legal document that seeks authorization to perform a search. That may look different. It varies case to case. It could be a search on a place, a person, or a record.
Okay. And with respect to search warrants in conjunction with records, did you perform any or request any search warrants for records?
Yes, I did.
Specifically, I direct your attention first to Airbnb.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the jury how you would go about getting a search warrant?
Yes, ma'am. So I would draft the search warrant. I would present that to a judge, and if they saw probable cause for the issuance of the warrant, I would then serve that to the provider, in this case Airbnb.
And would you be specific as to what it was you were looking for?
Yes, so in this case we were looking for account details or records associated with Nicholas Kassotis.
Okay. And at the time that you made that request for a search warrant, was one granted?
Yes, it was.
Did you serve that on anyone?
I did.
Who did you serve that on?
It was on Airbnb.
Okay. And when you say you serve that, what does that mean exactly?
So for many business entities, service is electronic, whether it be through a law enforcement portal, whether it be received legal process, or through an email address.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you receive a response to your request from Airbnb?
I did.
And how did that response come into you?
It came electronically.
Okay. Were you able to specify any particular addresses or locations with respect to Airbnb data other than just Mr. Kassotis' name?
I'm sorry, so you asked for an address?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So an address of interest in this case, I believe, is 311 East 65th Street in Savannah, Georgia, which is where it's believed that Mr. Kassotis rented an Airbnb.
Okay. And was that information sought as well?
Yes, it was.
Did you receive response from them concerning all of that?
Yes, I did.
And with those documents, were they preserved in their original format electronically when you received them?
Yes, they were.
Prior to actually seeking out that search warrant, can you tell the jury whether or not you, well, let me back up. How did you know that address?
So during the investigation, at a point, the evidence determined that Mr. Kassotis had rented an Airbnb with his then wife, Mindi, and made contact with the Airbnb owner and had a conversation with her, and also procured screenshots of messages within the Airbnb between Mr. Kassotis and the Airbnb owner.
Okay, and did you personally observe those messages?
I did.
As a result, were you able to see a profile picture associated with that Airbnb?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to receive phone numbers connected to that Airbnb account?
Yes, I did.
Did you see also screenshots between the owner of the Airbnb and who you believe to be the occupant of the residence?
Yes.
And who was that occupant?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And was that number and his name affixed on those screenshots?
Yes, it was.
When you saw that information, did that assist you in preparing the affidavit to secure the search warrants?
Yes, it did.
Did that also provide you, withdrawn, did you seek search warrants for any other locations other than Airbnb?
Other business records, yes, ma'am.
Okay. What business records were those?
So one was T-Mobile, another was AT&T, and Verizon as well.
Now, just to be clear, can a search warrant request be denied?
Yes, it can.
And in this case, were they granted or denied?
They were granted.
Would that be to all of the locations, meaning business record locations that you just referred to?
Yes, that's correct.
So, which search warrants? Well, let me back up. Were there other search warrants as well?
Yes, there were.
Okay. Specifically today, we're going to only refer to Airbnb, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon with respect to the search warrants, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive a response from each of those providers in respect to those search warrants?
Yes.
How did those come to you? You indicated electronically for Airbnb. How did the other ones come in?
They were all electronic.
Okay. And when they come in electronically, can you tell us what a declaration is?
Yes, ma'am. So it's essentially a certification of business records. The custodian of records will include that document to show that it's a valid and true depiction of the records that the business entity has at the time.
Okay. And did you receive one for each of those providers, meaning Airbnb, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk specifically about Airbnb. When you received those records, were you able to look at those records?
Yes, I was.
Did you provide them to anybody else in conjunction with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
Special Agent Jay Burney of the FBI.
Okay. Did you also provide them to anybody within the GBI?
Yes, I did.
Who did you turn them over to?
The GBI uses analysts that are admitted in our field offices. So in this case, that would have been Lakita Lee.
Was there a time period that you were seeking to request those records for?
Yes, there was.
Do you recall what that time period was?
I believe that was October 1st, 2022 to May 10th of 2023.
And with respect to the Airbnb, if I may, Your Honor. Recognize that document.
Yes, I do.
You indicated that you sought a request for Airbnb, is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you tell us, would that affidavit incorporate the date range of what records you were seeking?
Yes, ma'am, it would.
Would it also include whose accounts specifically we were requesting?
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated Nicholas Kassotis, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also seek any information concerning any other names?
Yes, ma'am. It was our understanding that Mr. Kassotis was also going by another name or had changed his name at that time, which was Nicholas Killian James Stark.
When you made the request, was that incorporated as well?
Yes, it was.
And with respect to those records, can you tell us, you indicated October of what year?
2022.
Were you able to determine if there were records before that as well that you received?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was the initiating period of that time frame requested and received?
I believe that would have been June 30th of 2022.
Okay. And so what did you receive from which date to which date inclusive?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that's June 30th to May 10th. June 30th of 22, excuse me, and then May 10th of 2023.
Okay. And did you ultimately determine by reviewing those records whether or not the period of that rental at the 311 East 65th Street, Savannah was included?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it?
Yes.
Did it indicate a time period in which that rental was held by Mr. Kassotis?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
And what was that rental dates?
That was June 30th of 2022 to December 13th of 2022.
And were you also able to confirm the information provided to you by the owner of the Airbnb, Ms. Hanson?
Yes.
The records that you received, did it indicate who the owner of that account was?
Yes, it did.
And what was that owner's name?
Nicholas Kassotis.
Did you have an opportunity to confirm payment for that Airbnb through any other business records?
Yes, ma'am, I did. We also obtained Renaissance Bank records for Mr. Kassotis, which corroborated the payment for Airbnb.
Okay. So now, at this time, I'm going to ask you, prior on what is in evidence that states 1.101.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at this time, Your Honor, I am going to seek to introduce the exhibits electronically that are listed on 1.101 as certified business records folder with a subfolder Airbnb and then Airbnb production. Is that the records you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor. They're admitted.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that there were Renaissance Bank records as well, is that correct?
That's correct.
And those Renaissance Bank records, how did you go about securing those?
Via search warrant.
Okay. And when those materials were requested, did you ultimately receive them back?
Yes, I did.
And whose name was the account holder that you were looking for from Renaissance Bank records?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And did you in fact receive a response from that request?
I did.
Now, specifically, was that received electronically as well?
Yes, it was.
Prior to your testimony here today, did you have occasion to again look at the records that were electronically documented on 1.101, the USB?
Yes.
Are those the same records that you received in response to your request from Renaissance Bank?
Yes, they are.
And at this time, Your Honor, I would seek to introduce the records that are listed under Renaissance Bank in the subfolder of certified and business records on 1.101.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor. They're admitted.
And with respect to those records, did you have occasion to look to determine whose account was in fact received?
Yes.
And whose account was that?
It was Nicholas Kassotis.
Okay. And on those records, did it list a certain...
Yes, it did.
And that was included within the electronic discovery?
That's right.
Okay. Ultimately, did you give those records to anyone in connection with this case?
Yes, I did.
Who did you give those records to?
Both the GBI analyst, Lee, and FBI agent, Jay Burney.
Okay. And those bank records, ultimately, I'm referring specifically to the account ending in 141. Is that what you're referring to here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you testified that you had a conversation with the owner of the, well, let me back up. You had seen screenshots from the owner of the Airbnb, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And during those screenshots, you ultimately viewed them on the Airbnb records?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to determine what phone number was being communicated with at that time?
Yes, I did. Would you like me to say
Yes,
that
please,
phone number?
if you know.
It's 912 47. I'm sorry, I have to refresh my memory. 4750.
Did you actually have the screenshot in front of you?
I did.
Okay, and when you saw that screenshot, what did you do with that information from the screenshot?
So at that time, I took that wireless number and determined that it is a T-Mobile line, and ultimately wrote a search warrant for that number.
And did you submit that search warrant to a judge?
Yes, I did.
Was it granted?
It was.
Did you serve or give that search warrant to anyone?
Yes.
Who did you give it to?
T-Mobile, their law enforcement response center.
And when you sent that information to T-Mobile, did you receive a response from them?
Yes, I did.
Did that include a declaration page as well?
It did.
And did you receive the electronic page with all of the data as well in it?
Yes, I did.
With respect to that information, just so we're clear for the record, can you tell us what type of information you received from T-Mobile?
And so in that production, there is essentially spreadsheets that show call detail records and also data sessions. as well as subscriber information, excuse me. And those all show incoming and outgoing calls and data sessions within the time frame requested.
And who did you believe that phone number 912-482-4570 to belong to at that time?
Nicholas Kassotis.
And ultimately, did you turn those records over to Agent Sands?
Yes, I did.
Did you also turn them over to anyone else?
Yes.
Who did you turn them over to?
Special Agent Bernie.
And just curiously, why did you turn them over to Agent Bernie from the FBI?
So Agent Bernie serves on a unit called CAST, stands for Cellular Analysis and Survey Team. He can take call detail records and go in depth and really map those to show locations or certain communication patterns.
Do you do that yourself?
I do it sometimes, yes.
Okay. And so in this case, were you aware of what materials he was going to need?
Yes, I was.
And did you provide those to him?
Yes.
Did the period of time that you requested cover the dates surrounding this incident?
Yes, they did.
And would that include the days leading up to December 2nd of 2022?
Yes.
And the days thereafter?
Yes.
Did you secure any records from any other phone providers other than T-Mobile?
Yes, I secured records from AT&T and Verizon.
Okay, let's start with AT&T. How many phones did you try to get from AT&T's information?
So just one wireless record. However, I also obtained records pertaining to telematics for a vehicle.
Okay, and so for those records, let me back up. Let's talk first about the telematics. Did you have a vehicle identification number that you were seeking?
Yes, I did.
And that vehicle identification number, was that recovered during the course of the investigation?
It was.
And did you provide that to AT&T when you made the request?
Yes, I did.
Would it be fair to say that's a really long number?
It is.
Do you recall that number off the top of your head?
I do not.
I can just have one moment. May I approach your office? I'm handing you 1.19 in evidence. Can you turn to the second page, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a vehicle identification number that is consistent with this case?
Yes, there is.
And can you just tell us what vehicle identification number you attempted to secure in connection with this case records for?
Yes, it appears to be 1FM SK7DH7NGB37068.
And you indicated telematics. Was that with respect to what type of a device?
A vehicle. Some vehicles are outfitted with a wireless a SIM card similar to what you would find on a phone.
Okay. And did you receive a response from AT&T concerning that vehicle identification number data?
Yes, I did.
And was that received electronically?
It was.
Did you have a declaration page in that as well?
Yes.
And did you receive that in its entirety in a format that you forwarded to someone?
Yes, I did.
Who did you provide that to?
Special Agent Bernie.
I'm now referring to the State's Exhibit 1.101. Did you have an opportunity before your testimony here today to look at the records for AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon concerning the records that you received?
Yes, I did.
Were those complete, true, and accurate copies of what you received from those providers?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'm going to seek to introduce on the State's Exhibit 1.101 under the folder FBI Cast, Cell Phone Productions. There are subfolders for AT&T Ford, T-Mobile Production, Verizon Production, and Verizon and T-Mobile Data Sessions.
No objection, so, very good.
Thank you. You had a chance to look at them before your testimony, right?
Yes, I did.
Were those the records that you received from each of those companies?
Yes.
And did you turn all of those over to Agent Bernie of the FBI?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And again, the time periods in question that were sought for each of those, were those included in your search warrant?
Yes, they were.
And what was the time range that you sought for each of those?
I believe it was October 1st, 2022 to May 10th of 2023.
Okay. And why did you stop on May 10th of 2023?
I believe that was the day that I submitted the warrants themselves, so you can't write a search warrant for future records, if that makes sense.
Okay. And those responses incorporated all of those dates that you just referred to?
Yes.
Okay. Now, referencing phone number 434-964-8328 at Verizon, well, actually, before I move on, was there a device that was believed to be attributed to Mrs. Kassotis, Miss Mindi?
A device or a wireless number?
A wireless number.
Yes.
Okay. And was that sought as well?
Yes, it was.
Were records received as well from the provider?
Yes.
Was that in the same format as what you previously described?
Yes, ma'am.
Are those included in the documents that I just referred to when I said AT&T records?
Yes.
Was hers also an AT&T device?
Yes, ma'am, a wireless number.
Okay. And I keep
That's
saying
okay.
device, my apologies. What's the difference?
So a device technically refers to the actual phone in your hand. The wireless number is that number associated with it that the business entity, in this case AT&T, would have records for.
So you didn't actually have the phone?
That's correct.
You just knew the number they were using?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result, are those the records you saw?
Yes, ma'am.
So even if you don't have a phone, can you get those records from the phone company?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they? Now, other than the Ford VIN number and the cellular number or the wireless number, did you then get records from Verizon concerning a wireless number as well?
Yes, I did.
And specifically, do you recall the number that you got from that phone?
I don't.
Okay. One moment. If I showed you something, would that refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am, it would.
Showing the witness a copy of the warrant. Please take a look at that and let us know if that refreshes your recollection.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
And what number were you seeking in conjunction with the Verizon number?
That number is 434-96.
Did you submit a search warrant for that?
Yes, I did.
And did you get a response from that search warrant?
I did.
Can you tell us, how did you, or why did you seek that specific number?
Yes, ma'am. So this number was associated on a police report from Lancaster Police Department when Mr. Kassotis reported his vehicle was on fire.
Did he provide a phone number to the Lancaster Police Department in conjunction with that report?
Yes, he did.
And as a result, were you able to use that number to try and seek records?
Yes.
So the T-Mobile records were from the screenshots with Ms. Hansen, is that right?
Correct.
And then these were from the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the time period associated with those records, would that be the same October 1st through May, October 1st of 2022 through May 10th of 2023?
Yes, it is.
And again, did you turn those over to anyone?
Yes, ma'am. Special Agent Bernie.
Okay. Did you also turn all of those records over to anybody within the GBI?
Special Agent Sands and as well as our analyst, Ms. Lee.
Why would you give them to the analyst?
So the analyst has different software that sometimes helps in analytics of different records, organizes information in a way that is easier for us to produce leads or otherwise analyze it and understand it.
Okay. With respect to the bank records, do you know if any documentation or reports were generated as a result of reviewing those bank records?
Yes, ma'am, I believe Ms. Lee generated a report.
Okay. And you yourself did not, though?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I have no further questions for Ms. Whitman.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ed. You're excused. Our next witness, please.
The state calls Special Agent Jay Burney from the FBI.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
If you would please raise your right hand and take the oath.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Special Agent Burney.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state and spell your full name for the court reporter?
Yeah, my name is James, last name Burney, B-E-R-N-I.
Where do you work, sir?
I'm a special agent in the FBI.
How long have you been with them?
Almost 18 years.
What do you do in the FBI?
So I'm currently part of the FBI's CAST team, C-A-S-T.
What does that stand for?
So that stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
What does the CAST team do?
Yeah, so CAST is a team that was stood up by the FBI in 2009 after the FBI noticed an increased use of cell phone records in criminal trials. So CAST team members like myself specialize in both active and historical cell phone and social media tracking.
Okay. Do you have any education that rendered you able to perform those duties?
I mean, we get training specifically from the FBI, but I do have some relevant training that was prior to the FBI.
Okay. What was that?
So I spent 10 years active duty in the United States Army. The last 6 years, I worked at the National Security Agency, or NSA, where my job was to track Department of Defense high-value targets in Iraq and Afghanistan using their communication devices like cell phones and satellite phones.
Would it be fair to say that's almost exactly what you're doing now?
Yes, very relevant, correct.
Okay. And for how long were you doing that?
I did that for 6 years in the NSA.
Okay. And when you started with the FBI, what was your role when you first came in?
As a special agent, my job was to investigate criminal offenses. So I worked mostly violent crime cases, gun cases, drugs, kidnappings, those kinds of things.
Okay. At some point, you shifted to the CAST team, is that right?
I did. So I got certified in 2016, and then it's been my full-time job, just looking at cell phone records since 2019.
So for the last roughly 6 years, all you do is look at cell phone records?
Every day.
Okay. Can you describe the background of a typical CAST agent?
Yeah, so typical background is an agent or a lead investigator that's worked multiple criminal offenses and have used cell phone records in their cases. The vast majority of us have been in the Bureau for 6 to 10 years working cases prior to coming and working CAST.
Can you describe the training you received when you became a CAST agent?
Yeah, so we receive about 400 hours of specialized training in everything from radio wave theory, how does a radio wave move through space, to training directly from the cell phone manufacturers. So we get training directly from Apple, Samsung, LG. They come and teach us how do their phones operate. But probably the most relevant training we receive is from the cellular providers, meaning T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, what used to be Sprint when they were around. They would come in and teach us how does their network work. So from the time you hit that green button to place or receive a call, how is that call routed from towers to other parts of their network? How do they keep records on that routing? And then how would we as CAST team members use those records to get an general area of a device when it had activity on the network?
Did that training include an exam?
It does. So we have both a practical hands-on and a written exam in which you have to score 80 or above in both.
And did you receive any additional training or certifications?
So we get recertified every year. So again, I went through my initial training in 2016, but every year we get all the CAST team together, and again, we bring in members from various cell phone providers, well, all the cell phone providers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and they teach us the latest and greatest of what's going on within their network. So when is 3G going away? When's 5G voice going to be everywhere? So that way when we come and testify, like I'm doing today, we have the latest and greatest information directly from the cell phone companies. And again, we do that every year.
Would it be fair to say that for the most part they're very cooperative?
Extremely, yes.
Okay. And with respect to cellular technology utilized by major cellular providers in the United States, are you familiar with those?
I am, and again, we get that training initially when you go through training, but then every year you get recertified and get information directly from the providers, so yes.
Are you familiar with the record-keeping practices used by the different providers?
Yes, that's part of our training as well.
Do they all use the exact same practices, or do they have different ones?
They do not. They all use different methods. Now, their spreadsheets all look different, or some of them are even different formats, not Excel, but they all contain relatively the same information, and that's what allows us to map that information.
Do you provide any training in this area yourself to others?
I do. So I teach what's called a CAST basic course, which is a 2-day introduction course to law enforcement all throughout the United States. I've probably taught that maybe 24 times. I've also taught at our advanced and overseas locations. I handle the Caribbean, which isn't terrible. So I go to the Caribbean and conduct training. I've also conducted training in Mexico and the Ukraine before the war started.
What is historical call detail analysis?
Yeah, so by law, all the cell providers, meaning T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, they have to keep a record of every mobile device on their network. And they do this in what's called call detail records, or CDRs for short. So think of that CDR as like the old school phone bill when we used to get like a paper copy, right? It'd have our number, the other number we talked to, the date and time of the conversation, the other phone number associated with that conversation. But it also includes other information that is relevant and useful to the cellular providers and to law enforcement. and that is the cell phone tower and the sector or side of the tower that's used for every single call, text, or data session on your network. In addition to the CDRs, the phone companies have to keep what's called a tower list. So it is what it sounds like. It's basically a list of every cell phone tower that they have in the United States. So if we're talking about T-Mobile, that list contains every tower location for T-Mobile based on the date that we looked at. And then it breaks down each tower into the sides. So it'll say, hey, tower 123 is located at this specific spot on the earth. Side number 1 points in, at 0 degrees or north. Side number 2, 120 degrees. Side number 3, 240 degrees. So what historical call detail analysis is taking the call detail records when an activity occurred, like a call or a text, putting that together with the tower locations, where are those towers located that were used, and by putting those two things together, we can get a general location of where a device was when it had a call, a text, or a data session on the network.
Okay. Are there more or less towers in different parts of the country?
Yeah, so tower placement is really based upon population. So where more people live and more people work, there's going to be a need for more cell phone towers because more people are using phones. So like downtown Savannah, there's going to be more towers than there would be in rural parts of this county where maybe the population isn't as high. So tower density or tower location is done by the amount of customers they need to service. More customers, more towers.
Who makes that determination?
Yeah, that's the network itself, meaning folks from T-Mobile, Verizon, they look at their network and see, oh, hey, they just built this brand new apartment complex in this certain area. Our call volume on this one tower is really high. Let's add another tower or change some things within their network. So the network, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, are always reviewing what's going on within their network and making changes as necessary.
Do you have tower lists based on timeframes?
Yes, so the cellular providers will send a list of cellular towers during a time period. So whenever they make a change to their network, normally it's every couple months or quarterly sometimes, they'll send a list into NDCAC, which is National Domestic Communications Assistance Center. It's basically the repository of all tower lists. So when AT&T makes a change, they'll send in their new tower list. All of those tower lists are kept all the way back to 2010. So if we need to analyze an incident that occurred, let's say in 2019, we can go to that repository and pull the towers as they were in 2019. So we're not relying on a current tower list of 2025.
And approximately how many times have you performed historical call detail analysis?
Yeah, so again, this has been my full-time job since 2019, so thousands of records. I look at records every single day, sometimes numerous records, and in all kinds of cases.
What types of cases do you use cellular analysis for?
Yeah, so the vast majority are going to be criminal cases because my requests will come in from DA's offices or sheriffs or police departments. But we can also use it anytime you need to locate a device. So about 6 months ago, we had a individual, a teen, who texted his parents, said, hey, I got a bunch of pills, I can't take it anymore, I'm going to commit suicide by taking these pills. So they contacted me, we were able to get cell phone records for this individual and basically map out a location of a search area for law enforcement to go and find them. So again, we can use this technique anytime you need to locate a device, so all kinds of cases.
What agencies can request CAS services?
Yeah, we support other federal partners like DEA, ATF, but also any state and local agencies. So any law enforcement agency that needs assistance can request it. And again, we also do some overseas analysis. I handle the Caribbean. I've done work in Mexico, the UK, and the Ukraine before the war.
Have you or CAST generally ever conducted an analysis where the person accused of a crime has been eliminated or cleared as a result of your review?
Yes, it's it's quite often. Obviously, I get records from a police department, let's say, and they'll say, "Hey, here's records. Can you review them? Here's our incident location in Atlanta. Our suspect says that he was in Florida at the time of the incident." So I'll review the records and verify either the device, the cell phone, was in the location of the crime, or help prove an alibi location of them being somewhere else, which happens quite often. And so with that, then those people would eventually be eliminated or cleared as potential suspects.
Is your analysis reviewed by anyone else after you perform it?
It is. So once I make the initial and draft analysis of the case is sent to another CAST certified individual, all the original records. They review my report and the original records to verify that I didn't map a tower in a wrong location or use the wrong tower, those kinds of things. We then review their feedback before we make a final report, which is what will be presented today in trial.
Have you ever testified as an expert in court before?
I have.
How many times approximately?
About 120 different times in 10 different states.
And have you presented the results of your cellular analysis in court before as well?
I have.
What methodology did you use in forming your opinion?
Yeah, so just like we talked about historical call detail analysis, right? Looking at the CDRs, basically the phone bill plus the tower information, putting that together with the tower list, putting those two things together to get a general location of where a device was when it had an activity, a call, text, or data session on the network.
Are your results peer reviewed? I believe that's what you just described. Is that correct?
I did. Yes, they are.
Okay. And have you ever been denied expert status in a court of law?
I have not.
Have you been qualified as an expert in the field of cellular device location information?
I have.
Approximately how many times? Is that 120 you were referring to?
Yeah, every time I've testified, so approximately 120 times.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to introduce Special Agent Bernie as an expert in the field of cellular device location information.
Absolutely no objection. He's so qualified that he gives his opinion.
You may proceed.
Thank you. In anticipation of your testimony here today, did you prepare a report concerning your analysis?
I did.
And would it be fair to say that was in the form of a PowerPoint, essentially?
It is.
Okay. Can you tell us what is the technology concerning cell site data? What is it that a cell phone does?
Yeah, so, when a cell phone's on, it's, always scanning the environment, looking for the strongest, clearest, the best signal. So when you're ready to use it for a call, a text, or a data session, the phone knows which tower has the best signal. So the phone chooses the tower with the best signal. Once you complete your activity, be it a call, a text, or a data session, that activity then goes onto the call detail records, that CDR, so the phone bill, basically. And then we can use that information, again, to locate the towers and sectors used and form our opinion of the general location of a device.
Why do the phone companies keep that information?
Yeah, so they keep it to optimize their network. So what we're looking at is billing records. So all of these are billing records, or business records, that are kept by the providers in order to optimize their network. Meaning, they want to know where are calls being placed are, where are their dropped calls. Do I need to add a cell phone tower because now there's all of a sudden all these customers in a certain area? So they use these CDRs every day to optimize the customer experience.
And does your phone always use the closest tower?
It doesn't necessarily always use it. Again, it's based on a bunch of things that come into play, but it's using the best signal. Now, it uses the closest tower the vast majority of times. Like, very minimally does it use a tower that's not the closest, but it can.
Can you tell us what a drive test is?
Yeah, so a drive test is a test, an additional analysis step that is scanning the environment, looking for the strongest, clearest, the best signal. So when you're ready to use it for a call, a text, or a data session, the phone knows which tower has the best signal. So the phone chooses the tower with the best signal. Once you complete your activity, be it a call, a text, or a data session, that activity then goes onto the call detail records, that CDR, so the phone bill, basically. And then we can use that information, again, to locate the towers and sectors used and form our opinion of the general location of the device.
Why do the phone companies keep that information?
Yeah, so they keep it to optimize their network. So what we're looking at is billing records. So all of these are billing records, or business records, excuse me, that are kept by the providers in order to optimize their network. Meaning, they want to know where are calls being placed are, where are their dropped calls. Do I need to add a cell phone tower because now there's all of a sudden all these customers in a certain area? So they use these CDRs every day to optimize the customer experience.
And does your phone always use the closest tower?
It doesn't necessarily always use it. Again, it's based on a bunch of things that come into play, but it's using the best signal. Now, it uses the closest tower the vast majority of times. Like, very minimally does it use a tower that's not the closest, but it can.
Can you tell us what a drive test is?
Yeah, so a drive test is a test, an additional analysis step that we could use in CAST in order to basically determine the actual footprint of a cell phone tower. So we have some equipment that's the same equipment used by the cell phone companies, the same equipment used by T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T to test their network. We put that on a vehicle or a boat or whatever area we're going to test. And then we drive or sail or bike, however we need to, the entire area. And that allows us to determine the actual footprint of the tower. Meaning, if the phone is in a certain location, just like the phone, the drive test gear will tell us which tower and sector is the serving cell, meaning the strongest, clearest signal. And we can make a graphical representation of what the footprint of the tower and sector actually looks like. That'll make more sense when we can look at it.
Okay. And are you able then essentially to confirm the tower information in the records?
Yeah, what we can do with a drive test is really to say at a specific location, the device, the cell phone, would have chose this tower because it's the strongest, clearest signal. And then we can show at what point the phone would have picked another tower and sector based on the location of the device as it is locations with the other towers. Again, this will make more sense when we can actually see it.
Were you asked to look at any data in connection with this case?
Drive test data?
Any data? What data were you asked to look at?
Yeah, so I was asked to look at 3 mobile devices, so cell phones, and then cell phone records from a vehicle or connected car.
Okay, and can you tell us what is a connected car?
Yeah, so in later model cars, starting 2017, 2018 is kind of a good time period. The vehicle manufacturers starting to put in cell phones into cars, right? So it was initially sold as, hey, you can make your car into a Wi-Fi hotspot, right? And your kids can play video games in the back when you drive on vacation. Well, what they're really doing, the auto industry, is using the cell phone to collect information about the car. Like, how many miles does it have? How is it running? Is it performing how it's supposed to? And then it's sending that information through the cell phone network back to Ford, Nissan, Toyota, so that they can send you a coupon for an oil change, or they can see how your car is running so they can make changes to future model cars. So they're collecting information. So a connected car, in theory, is just a vehicle that has a cell phone built into it that communicates via the network.
And in this case, you indicated that you examined one, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how would, well, let's go back for just a second. You indicated you prepared a report in connection with this?
I did.
Okay. And prior to your testimony here today, did you have an opportunity to see that report?
I did.
And at this time, Your Honor, I'm going to seek to introduce on State's Exhibit 1.101 that report. It's an 18-page slide by Agent Bernie in connection with this case. I've shown it to counsel.
Any objection? No objection, Your Honor. It is submitted.
If we can turn on the monitor, please. Is this your report?
It is.
Just for the record, this is inside of a folder listed as FBI cast on 1.101. And can you tell us which devices that you were referring to that you examined data for?
Yeah, so again, I was asked to analyze 3 different phones. We see those phone numbers listed here. One was a Verizon phone, it's in red. T-Mobile phone, which will be in orange or yellow. And then an AT&T device, which is in blue. And then I also received records for, again, a connected car. So this 2022 Ford Explorer, and there's listed the VIN number for that specific vehicle. It had a cell phone with a cell phone number and equipment identifier in the vehicle. So I also reviewed records for that.
Now I'm going to go to slide number 2. We've covered.
I apologize, excuse me, Your Honor. I apologize. Can we get a 5-minute break before we get deep into this slide, Your Honor?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would step out just for a few minutes, please. Jury's out, we'll take 10 minutes. Be seated. All right, we ready? All right, we can bring the jury in. All right, everyone, please be seated. Counsel, you may continue.
Thank you. Agent Bernie, I believe when we left off, you were on slide number 2. Can you tell us what information you provided here in this slide?
Yeah, so this slide just shows how I was involved. So I got asked to review the records and conduct the analysis by the GBI, and given, again, the 3 cellular device records and the car records to analyze. And then it discusses the methodology, again, using the call detail records and the tower list, putting those things together to get a general area of where a device is. And then it just says, the conclusions will be mapped out on the next slides.
Okay. And can you tell us what is a cell tower?
Yeah, so cell phones connect to what we want to do kind of really through 2 different ways. One, obviously, is we can put our phones in Wi-Fi mode, right, and connect via Wi-Fi. The second way is through cellular networks, so through cell phone towers. What we're going to look at today is the phone's interactions all through this cellular network, which is the vast majority of how cell phones communicate and conduct their business in the United States. So what this is here is on the left-hand side are the most common cell phone towers, that monopole, a tall lattice tower, the guy wire tower, very common in this area because it's a very tall tower that can cover a vast majority of area. And then there's also the structural towers, so basically putting antennas on the sides of buildings or water towers in order to make towers and sectors off of that. Everything on the right-hand side is also a cell phone tower. Now, there's no fake cactuses here in Hinesville, but what that shows is that not all cell phone towers are created equal. Some are really, really tall, like the guy wire tower. Some are small, like this fake cactus in Phoenix, Arizona, that's meant to service just a park where they have concerts and other kinds of things like that. So that's what is shown here.
Now, on the top of this, it refers to cell tower sectors. Can you explain to us what a sector is on a tower?
Yeah, so the vast majority of cell phone towers in the United States are what we call sectorized towers, and most of which, the vast majority, probably about 95% of sectorized towers, are 3-sided sectors or towers. So remember when I said the phone company would put a tower in an area to provide coverage in that area? Well, in order to provide more spots for users, they take that one tower and they divide it up into 3 equal sides or sectors. And that gives more spots for customers to enter the tower, basically, or enter their service. So if a tower covers 360 degrees, a full circle, you divide that by 3 sides, so 360 divided by 3 makes each side approximately 120 degrees, which is kind of what you see here on the bottom left. You have like the red side, the blue side, and then the green side. Well, we find out or determine how a sector points directly from the tower list. So again, if I'm analyzing, I look at the call detail records, I see Jay Bernie's phone list, I look out where is 234, because their tower list is uniquely numbered, meaning no number is used twice. So if we're looking for a specific tower, we can go to the tower list and know exactly where that tower is. It's like a fingerprint on their network. Well, not only does it, again, provide the location of the tower, but it says the azimuth or the orientation of the side or the sector. So if we look at the illustration in the middle, again, we see the tower, that's that triangle white shape in the middle. If we're looking at sector number 1, we go to the tower list, it shows sector number 1 points towards 0 degrees, or north. So if we know that sector is 120 degrees from north, we can go 60 degrees to the left, put our red line, which we see in the illustration, go 60 degrees to the right, put our other red line, and that gives us the approximate left and right boundaries of that sector. And on the right-hand side, kind of the bottom right, you'll see how it will show on the map. Again, you have the red line on the left, red line on the right. Where those two red lines meet, kind of the point of the V, it's hard to see, but there's a green dot. That's the cell phone tower. And we know that in our example, the phone used the north side. Or did I touch something?
No, I did. I was trying to zoom for you. It doesn't.
On the north side, so we know the approximate or the general area of where that device is. One thing to note is you'll see kind of there's some red shading in between the two arms. That just shows you the size of the V that we're looking at. It doesn't say that's the coverage area of the tower. It's not meant to say that's where the phone is within that small area. It's just saying with these two lines of the V, the side that's connected, that's the side we're looking at.
Now, do phone companies share towers?
Yeah, so a cell phone tower can be put in an area, again, where they want to provide coverage. And a lot of our cell phone towers, the actual location is owned by a third party. So this third party will go and put up a pole and say, who wants to put their antennas, or who wants to put sectors on the sides of the tower? Maybe AT&T comes and says, hey, we want the top, we want our antennas there. Then T-Mobile says, hey, next level down, we want to put some antennas too. So a tower can be shared by more than one provider. The pole can be shared. But phones are like children, right? We tell children, don't talk to strangers. Well, that's exactly with a cell phone, right? T-Mobile only talks to T-Mobile. AT&T only talks to AT&T.
Can you tell us what's depicted in slide page 5?
So what this is just an example of call-out boxes that we'll see. So for every cell phone tower mapped, there's going to be a box that like this. So the box will have information directly from the call detail records. One thing to note is that this is just an example. There's not a 678 area code within our case. This is just an example put up there. But in the top, we see CID. That stands for cell ID. So what that is that's that unique cell phone tower number. 732392 is the tower number. And then the dash 16 is the side or in the height or tier of that antenna on the pole. Underneath that, you'll see the date. Again, an example, not for our case, but this was an April 2019 example. Underneath that will be the phone number that's mapped, and then the activity time will be to the right of it in local time. So not all cell phone records are kept in local time. In fact, T-Mobile and AT&T, the ones we're going to look at the most, are kept in what's called UTC time, so a different time. So we have to convert that time. But I say that just to say all the times that you'll see in my analysis are in local Eastern time. And then I'll say the type of activity. All of our activity in this case are data sessions. meaning either the cell phone or the vehicle, the cell phone within the vehicle, or reaching out to the network and exchanging some kind of data on the network. The next number on the right shows, in this example, 122. That's the compass direction of the sector used, meaning if we're looking at sector number 1, in this case, we know the middle of it is 122. That's where the middle of the sector used is. And then if there was a phone call, the other number would be listed on the right. Again, everything we're going to look at is data sessions. And then you'll see at the kind of the top right there of that blue square or rectangle is a yellow circle with the number 4. And that's just a reference number. So if there's more than one tower shown on my map, there'll be a call-out box for tower number 1, a call-out box for tower number 2, 3, and 4, and so forth and so on.
Does that provide sequencing?
It does.
Okay. And did you in fact analyze some data?
I did.
I'm going to slide number 6 at this point. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
Yeah, so again, these are the cell phones and associated users that I was given for each of the numbers, and then their providers. So, obviously the vehicle, its phone located within the vehicle was using AT&T, as was the blue phone of Mindi, and then had a red phone, which was a Verizon phone associated with Nicholas Kassotis, and then another phone associated with Nicholas Kassotis was a T-Mobile phone, kind of shown here in yellow or orange.
Were all 4 of those devices mapped?
They were.
Okay. Ultimately, were you asked to map specific dates in conjunction with this case?
Yeah, so I reviewed the records for every one of these. And then I focused my analysis on important dates, times, and locations that I was asked to by the investigators.
And did you have any mappable activity for the Verizon device and the blue device associated with Mindi Kassotis?
I did not. So the device ending in 8328, the red device, and the blue device ending in 0847 had no activity during the times I reviewed, so you won't see any of their analysis because there was no activity to map.
So those 2 phones are not part in any way of this presentation?
That's correct.
Okay. And now I'm going to slide 7. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
So again, depicted here is cell phone towers and locations of interest that I was asked to review. One thing to note is you'll see a lot of blue dots and a lot of green dots on here. The blue dots are AT&T towers, and the green dots are T-Mobile towers. Again, you can kind of see what we talked about in locations where there's more people live and more people work, there's lots of towers together. Look at the downtown Savannah area, right? Towers look like they're right on top of each other. As opposed to you go to more rural parts of this, you'll see that towers get farther apart because there's less people. But on the left-hand side is all the locations that I was asked to review.
Did you also review another location that is referenced with an HD?
I did, Home Depot.
Okay, can you tell us, what do you do when you get an address from a law enforcement agency seeking to map it?
Yeah, so let's say at the top, right, I was given a Bass Pro Shops address and said, hey, can you add this in your analysis? Well, I look up the Bass Pro in the area, make sure that that address is correct, and then that address does exist and where is approximate to the Bass Pro. So I look at the map, make sure the address puts the marker exactly where Bass Pro is. If I have a place like a residence where, I can't look up, hey, residence for somebody, such and such, and put that out there, I just take that address and I put it in and verify that that is a legitimate address, and then place the marker on the map.
Okay. And with respect to the other locations, meaning the B1 torso recovered, B2 head recovered, all of those below it, what are those numbers underneath that?
Yeah, so those are latitude and longitude spots. So the investigators, when they found such an item they would mark the location where that item was recovered, the specific location. So it's basically a GPS coordinate of where that object is or was recovered. Like in the pumping station is located at that specific latitude and longitude.
And do those also get dropped onto this map?
They did. And you can kind of see them all kind of bunched together on the bottom kind of portion of the map with underneath the KF there. Since a lot of these locations are in a closer proximity, they kind of all bunched together on this slide.
And why are they all bunched together in this fashion?
Yeah, because I wanted this slide to show all of the locations from, the Home Depot down to the area where the body parts and the pumping station were. I wanted it all on one slide. So that made some of the locations kind of overlap since they are closer together.
I'm going to show you now slide number 8. Can you tell us first, what date and time range were you mapping on this slide?
Yeah, can I orient them to how the slide is laid out?
Of course.
Okay, so at the very top, you'll see the date and time period of the slide. So each slide is like a snapshot of time. So this covers obviously November 28th, 2022, between 1:12 p.m. and 1:31. That again, you see green dots, T-Mobile towers, blue dots, AT&T towers. On the far right-hand side, near the top, you see the residence and then the Bass Pro, basically those rectangles. Those are important locations that I was asked to review the phones during this time period as it pertained to those locations of interest.
Can you tell us when the call-out boxes, what is relevant in call-out box number 1?
Yeah, so again, you see 1, and you see it as the yellow circle with the black number 1, and then you see the towers listed there. And then if you look underneath there, you see the activity. So again, the vehicle had a data session that initiated at 1:12 using that tower and sector you see there. And then there's several data sessions from the 4570 cell phone, one at 1:14, 2 at 1:14, and 2 it looks like at 1:26, I think. It's correction, 1:28.
So these are local time, you said, correct?
These are all in local time.
Okay, so that number 1 where we see the sector that you were referring to, they were previously the 2 red lines, they are now, is that black?
One is black for the vehicle, and then the other is that yellow or orange for the cell phone.
Okay, and is that call-out box that's in the bottom right of that slide, is that depicted somewhere else on the map itself?
It is. It's showing the towers from number 1.
So what does that letter B reference?
The B, as you can see on the top right, is the Bass Pro Shops.
So what conclusions were you able to draw from the call-out box number 1 and the tower number 1?
Yeah, that both the vehicle and the cell phone, ending in 4570, had data sessions that used towers and sectors that were in close proximity to the Bass Pro Shops between 1:12 and 1:28 p.m.
And were you asked to look at that specific time for a reason?
I was, and you can kind of see the snapshot. On the left-hand side, I was told that there was a purchase, and attached is a copy of a receipt, kind of see on the left-hand side there. And the time listed on the receipt is November 28th, 2022 at 13:23, which is 1:23 Eastern Time.
Okay. PM.
Correct.
And was that consistent with what you found in Tower 1, Box Callout 1 as well?
It is.
And can you tell us what is in Callout Box 2?
Yeah, so again, 2 is a different tower and sector, and we see that the vehicle had a data session at 1:31, and that vehicle is now, appears to have moved northbound, away from the tower it used at 1:12. At 1:31, the vehicle appears to have traveled north from its original location.
Can you tell us, just so we're clear, what exactly is a data session?
Yeah, so a data session is on a device, anything from one of two things. It can be user-generated, right? We can be on there surfing the internet, streaming audio or video, but it can also be refreshing. So things in the background of your phone refreshing. So if you're like me, in your Internet Explorer, or however you get to the internet on your phone, if you open it up, I got like 40 tabs underneath there, right? I don't close things out, I don't know. But some of those things refresh as the phone sits there. So that would be a data session. The phone is interacting with the tower, transmitting data back and forth, so we can see the tower and sector used during that data session. Well, that's the same with the vehicle, right? Vehicles, some interact and check in with the network more than other vehicles. It's proprietary information, maybe Nissan's interested in this and Ford's interested in this, so they set their phones to send this information during that time period. Fords, historically, are very chatty on the network, meaning they love to transmit information, which we'll see here in the next couple of slides.
So again, just to make sure, the orange coloring is the phone device for the phone ending in 4570, is that right?
That's correct.
And then the black numbers in those call-out boxes would be the Ford vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay. So I'm now turning to slide number 9. Can you tell us what you place on this slide?
Yeah, so again, this is same kind of layout. On November 29th here, 2022, we're looking at between 8:33 a.m. and 9 a.m. Same phone ending in 4570, the orange or yellow, and then the black is the vehicle. And then on the right-hand side, we have the residence again, but now we also added the location of a Home Depot on East Victory Drive, which is the yellow box with the letters HD in it.
And what did you find about tower location 1 by the residence?
Yeah, so there's vehicle data sessions that are initiated at 8:33 and 8:42, which would be consistent with the vehicle being at or in the vicinity of the residence. And then we see that device have its next data session at 8:58, which is tower number 3, the black device. Again, now that's over near the Home Depot. And then in between those at 8:54 and 9 o'clock, we have data sessions for the phone. Again, the orange phone. Again, in the vicinity of the Home Depot.
Can you explain why number 2 and number 3 are facing each other?
Yeah, so again, these are two different networks. So one is AT&T, the vehicle, and one is T-Mobile, that's the phone. So they may share the same tower, but they don't necessarily do that all the time. In fact, most of the time, they don't. So what we might see is, T-Mobile has its antenna for an area over on this side, on the right-hand side, but to cover the same area, AT&T might put its tower on the left-hand side. Again, it's just how the phone companies decide to put their towers. But one significant factor, obviously, is there's 3 activities, 2 from the phone and 1 from the car, 8:54 from the vehicle, from the phone, 8:58 from the car, and then 9 o'clock from the phone. Again, both of those are kind of pointing in the same general area. One's opening to the right, and one is opening to the left with the Home Depot in the middle.
And were you asked specifically to look at that time frame for a particular reason?
I was, and you'll see on the right-hand side again is a snippet of a receipt on November 29th of 2022 at 8:56 a.m., a purchase of something, I don't know.
Okay. And that purchase and that date and time was what caused you to look for the activity of the data sessions? Bless you.
Bless you.
For that date and time?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay, and that activity put that vehicle and the device in the vicinity of what?
Of the Home Depot, starting at 8:54 and ending at around 9 o'clock. Those last two interactions.
Now, with respect to call-out box 1, can you tell us that CID that's in the top, what is that?
So the CID, so again, that's 7403884. That's that tower is in the vicinity of the residence.
And the residence being, would that be the address that you have on the top right corner?
It is 311 East 65th Street in Savannah.
And I'm now going to show you slide number 10. What is depicted here?
So again, still on the 29th, between 9:09 and 9:42. Same one vehicle, and same locations of interest, the Home Depot and the residence shown here. And then obviously you have all the dots from the blue cell phone towers and the green towers. But what this shows is basically movement of both the device and the vehicle. Starting at the first activity at 9:09, you can see tower number 1 has activity of both the vehicle and the car. And then we see interactions from both the vehicle and the car as the devices move westbound, most likely on 16, and then southbound on most likely 95, with this slide ending on tower number 5 at 9:42 a.m. The vehicle and phone appear to be headed south on 95.
And so would it be fair to say that you're able to track essentially movement?
Absolutely.
And how do you do that specifically?
Yeah, I mean, if you know a phone used a tower in a sector at a specific time period, you can see, hey, if it used this one, 10 minutes later, it used one to the right, further to the right another 10 minutes later. We know that the device traveled in that direction in order to use those towers at specific time periods.
Would that be even more prevalent, for example, if the device is a car? And I say device, in this case, I mean the cellular card is associated with a car?
Correct.
Okay. I'm now moving to slide number 11. Can you tell us what's depicted at slide number?
I'm still on the 29th. Still the same phone and same vehicle, orange for the phone, black for the vehicle. Now we have a lot of locations of interest listed on the right-hand side. You see in red is basically the various body parts and where the knife was found. And then there's also a purple or pink square representing a pumping station there. And then if you look at the activity of the device, I'm going to look at my slides because that yellow's hard to see. So if you look at the time periods, you'll see the device uses tower number 1, which again is off 95 there. At 9:59, it uses the northeast side, so kind of the right-hand side. And then at 10:04 and 10:05, now it's using the left-hand side. And we can tell that because in that box, it may be hard to see, but the last two numbers, one says 86 for the 9:59 activity. Well, an azimuth of 86 is basically east, because 90 degrees would be due east. And then the 240 is going to be basically south and west. So we can tell which of these sides the phone used at specific times based off of the azimuths there. And then we also, in that same general area at 10:02, have activity on tower number 2 for the vehicle. And we see, again, that all located in the same area there.
Would it be fair to say then that because there's data sessions for the vehicle and data sessions for that wireless number, that both of those are interacting with the tower at the same times that are listed in those call-out boxes?
Oh, they're definitely interacting with the towers at these specific times.
Would the phone itself and the car then have to be in the vicinity of that tower for that to occur?
That's correct, yeah, in the footprint of it.
Okay. And with respect to these dates and times, that very last number that is the degrees that it's facing, is that correct?
The degrees, the azimuth of the sector is facing, correct?
Okay. And so would it be fair to say that that's able to tell you the movement direction of the vehicle and the device?
Objection leading. It is.
But it doesn't suggest an answer. Just try to avoid that, counsel.
Will do.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, normally if you see a change in azimuth, it either means one of two things. So there's overlap between towers and overlap between sides, meaning these are mobile devices, right? They're meant to be moved everywhere. So the way they make a network is the cell phone tower on the right, and you got a cell phone tower on the left. But what they don't want is those coverage areas to stop and not touch each other, right? Because then when we drive from the right to the left, we lose coverage, we get our call hang up before we enter the next sector. We get pretty mad about that as customers. But what they want to do is overlap the towers a little bit. So that way when you're traveling from the right to the left, you're in sector number 1, you're in the overlap, handing over to sector or tower number 2, and then in tower number 2. So when we see different azimuths on one tower, it's one of two things. It's either the phone sits in the overlap of the sides or sectors, or the device is moved from one side of the tower to the other.
Does box number 3 assist in making that determination?
Very much so.
Explain how.
Yeah, because in box number 1, right, we see at 9:59, it used the right-hand side of tower number 1. And then at 10:04 and 10:05, we see the phone use the left-hand side of tower number 1. Well, if you look at tower number 3 at 10:15, the phone used tower number 3, which is farther to the left. So we can then deduce that the phone started at the right and moved to the left.
And are there times for those data sessions in call-out box 3?
There are.
And what were those?
So there's 10:15, 2 of them, 10:15:50, 10:15:51, and then the next ones are 12:03:57 and 12:03:58.
Can you explain to the jury why there's such a large gap in that time?
Yeah, so as we've kind of seen through the analysis, you know, the data sessions check in at various times and dates. But if you look through the course of the records, which I did, you know, it's normally checking in every, you know, sometimes a lot, but the vast majority at least once in an hour. But what we see here is you have a gap of about 2 hours, which could be indicative of a couple things. One is the device could have been turned off. Therefore, there's no check-ins between the device and the network because the device is powered off. The device could have been put in Wi-Fi mode, so only cellular, or correction, only Wi-Fi mode, taking it off the cellular network. Or number 3, it could have been in a spot where there's no cell phone coverage at all.
If there were no cell phone coverage, would you have seen those data sessions that are depicted therein? That box?
No, there's definitely network or coverage areas at 10:15 and 12:03, and we're going to see some drive test data. We drove all the areas basically in the middle of the map here, and you'll see there's coverage areas all throughout there. Maybe not the best, but there are coverage areas all through there.
And you did drive testing, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that mean you were physically on the ground in this area?
That's correct.
Was this rural or urban?
It is very rural.
Okay.
In fact, we had to get keys to get some gates open because there were locked gates and, you know, just vast majority of land. In fact, there's an impact area out there too.
Okay. And can you tell us what is depicted in number 4?
Number 4 is the next time after, so we're looking at the vehicle. At 10:02, you see it used tower number 2, so right where 95 is down there. And then the next activity on the vehicle is at 10:21. And then we see it use tower number 4 between 10:21 and 11:54. During that time period, it also uses tower number 2 twice, once at 10:33 and once at 10:34.
So all of those data sessions that are listed in box 4, do they tell you anything as to the vicinity of the vehicle at the times listed there?
Yeah, we know that it's in the general area that would be provided by tower number 3. So again, can't draw on here, but it's basically an area, reaching out from tower number 4 to an area of overlap of its next towers. And we see kind of the next AT&T tower, if we're looking down from 4, the next tower is number 2. But if you look left of tower number 2, all the way to the blue dot to the left of number 3. So again, in between number 4 and the blue dot on the left of number 3, somewhere in there is going to be the handover between those 2 towers.
Okay. And so what does that mean with respect to the vehicle sessions in respect to the waypoints you listed for B1, 2, 3, 4, and where the knife was found?
Yeah, so all of those locations, the closest AT&T tower and sector to it are tower number 4 and the sector shown.
And was that vehicle in the vicinity of Tower 4 at the time period between between 10:21 a.m. and 11:54 a.m.?
Correct, it was.
Now, tell us what is in box 5.
So again, the vehicle uses box 5, checks in a data session, 2 of them, at 10:33 and 10:34.
Would that also demonstrate any overlap?
Yeah, there's going to be overlap between Tower 4 and Tower 5. Maybe a little bit more than halfway, right? There's going to be some overlap between the 2 of those. And this will, again, the footprint will make more sense when we see the drive test data in a minute.
Now, were you able to determine what happened after 12:03 p.m.?
Oh, there was more on that slide. I wasn't sure.
My apologies. I'll go back. Please tell us, what did I fail to inquire? Oh, the top left side of the map. Can you tell us what the video at the pump station referenced?
Yeah, so I put a yellow square up there on the left-hand side, and it just says that I was notified that there was...
What's the state's response?
I can rephrase it. Is there a reason that you mapped a particular area between 11:16 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Yes.
Why did you map that area without telling us what was said?
Yeah, I'm at that area because there was video of a Ford Explorer collected near that pumping station, which is the pink box with the letters PS.
And where is that PS in relation to Tower 4?
You see it in the middle of the map. Again, Tower 4 and the sector used is the closest tower and sector, AT&T-wise, to the pumping station.
And with that vehicle identification number for...
1154.
Thank you. I'm now going to slide 12. Can you tell us what this depicts?
Yeah, so this is between 12:07 and 3:03 p.m. And it basically shows the first interaction is at 12:07 from the orange, basically the cell phone, at tower number 1. And then you can see interactions between the phone and the car and various towers as the device and vehicle move northbound, most likely on I-95. And then eventually there's a vehicle data session at 2:03 in the vicinity of the residence.
Now, just to be clear, this box, the call-out box number 1, that reflected what time?
12:07 p.m.
Is that the cellular device itself, the phone, or is that the car?
That is the cellular device.
And I'm going back one moment to slide 11. When was the last time the phone was captured in the vicinity, time-wise, of this area?
12:03 p.m.
And so that gap of time that you were referring to, when did that attribute to? What time?
Between 10:15 a.m. and 12:03 p.m. on the 29th.
So that's when there were no data sessions?
Correct.
On the phone, to be specific.
Correct.
Were there those data sessions we just described on the vehicle, though?
Yes, you see that in most of those we're using tower number 4, the sector shown.
Would that be about in the middle of the screen?
It is, that's correct.
Now, going back to slide 12, can you tell if there's anything relevant about specifically call-out box 8 with respect to the vehicle data session?
Yeah, so again, that's the tower and sector in the vicinity of the residence, and the number 740384. That tower number is the same one we saw on page number 9, kind of zoomed in, the one that was closest to the residence.
And that would be the same tower that was picking up on both of those times?
Same tower, yes.
I'm now going to talk to you a little bit about the drive testing. You indicated that you did do drive testing?
I did.
Okay, and can you tell us where specifically you drove tested?
Yeah, so I specifically wanted to map out 4 different towers to make sure we understood the footprint of those towers on the dates in November of 2022.
Okay, and so tower number, I'm on now slide number 14. What did you display here?
Yeah, so again, at the top, it shows that we drove tests in an AT&T tower. You see the cell ID, so it's the same 740350-224. And you'll see on the left-hand side, that's the same call-out box that was shown on the previous slide, page number 11. And it was tower number 5 on that slide. And then on the right-hand side, we still have the locations of interest, all the body parts plus the pumping station. And then I show all the blue dots for AT&T devices. So this kind of amoeba that we're looking at here shows the footprint of the coverage area. So the dark purple in the middle is what we would call a dominant coverage area. So it's the strongest coverage area for that tower and sector. You'll see on the boundaries of the dark purple is light purple. That's that coverage area, or the overlap area. Remember how I said there's overlap between towers and sectors? So we see some of that overlap area would be the light pink or purple kind of area listed there. So this goes to show that the coverage area for this tower, represented by the yellow circle number 5, and you'll see the coverage area includes everything underneath it, plus locations around where the body parts were discovered.
Would it be fair then to say whether this does or does not provide coverage from that vehicle to the vicinity where those parts were recovered at those times?
It does. Some of them were in the overlap area, but yes, there's overall coverage to that area from this tower represented by number 5.
And I'm now looking at slide number 15. Can you tell us what's depicted here?
So again, I looked at the AT&T tower, 740626-17, and you'll see on the left-hand side, I pulled the call-out box from page number 11, and the tower number kept it the same, tower number 4. And so you'll see the times that that tower is used between 10:21 and 11:54. And then you see the coverage area. So in this case, it's represented by yellow. So the dark yellow, basically the center of the tower and sector, is the dominant coverage area for that tower. And then the lighter yellow would be some of that overlap area.
What is your opinion as to the vicinity of the Ford 2022 Ford with respect to 10:21 a.m. to 11:54 a.m. on November 29th of 2022?
Yeah, during the time periods listed on the left, which were those time periods, you'll see the dominant coverage area, which is the most likely location of this device, i.e. the Ford, during those time periods.
Now, there are 2 additional drive test areas in these slides, is that correct?
There are.
Or is it 3? Did you test other waypoints?
I did. So I also tested 2 T-Mobile towers for the device. The device ending in 4570, which is the cell phone. So again, you'll see at the top, T-Mobile cell 273477-3. You can see on the bottom right-hand side that it's the same tower number, and you'll see this tower and sector was used at 10:04 and 10:05 p.m. on the 29th.
And those times were with respect to the device itself as opposed to the car?
Correct.
Okay. I'm now going to slide 17. Can you tell us what's depicted there?
Yeah, so again, drive test for the T-Mobile device, cell phone tower 268-339-61. You'll see the call-out box on the left-hand side. There's activities at 10:15, 2 of them, and 12:03, 2 of them. And then you can see this is represented in blue. The dark spot is the dominant area, and then the light blue is that overlap area with other towers.
Now, the phone at this point, was that captured during that gap in time?
It was not. So there's no activity on the phone between 10:15 and 12:03 p.m.
Were there any phone calls or text messages at all?
No. So in my review of the call detail records, there's no phone calls or text messages during the time periods I reviewed.
So from the period that is in each of those call-out boxes, there are no other phone calls or text messages?
That's correct.
If I can have just one moment.
Just tell me what you want me to do.
Good afternoon, Agent Bernie.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's good to see you again. It's
Good
been
to
a
see
few
you.
months. Can we go to slide 6, please? Agent Bernie, this is slide 6 that you prepared, correct?
It is.
And you say that there is no mappable activity during the analyzed period for the 8828 Verizon number, correct?
Yeah, so listed on the bottom, it does say 8828. That's actually a typo. It's supposed to read 8328.
Oh, I wasn't trying to point out your typo. So that's just, the 8328 number has no mappable data.
That's
during
correct.
this period. And the 0847 number also has no mappable data, correct?
That's correct.
And from that information, you can't infer that the phone was turned off necessarily, correct?
No, you can't. So especially on the 8328, on the other one, we could maybe see if there were calls incoming. I don't recall if there were calls incoming that went to voicemail. So it is possible to see if a device is off the network based on the call detail records. I'll be honest, I don't recall.
That's fine. Let me put it another way. Could the phone number 8328 been put into airplane mode, for example?
Yes, it could have.
Could it have been put into what you are calling Wi-Fi mode, for example?
It could have pulled it off the network, yes.
And
Internet through Wi-Fi.
so if the 8328 number is connected to Wi-Fi, if it's in Wi-Fi mode, it could still be having data communications, correct?
That's correct.
It could be surfing the internet, correct?
Absolutely.
It could be sending and receiving messages, not SMS, not phone messages, but it could be sending and receiving messages in other ways, correct?
Correct.
It could be using Signal to send and receive messages, correct?
Signal, correct, and iMessages.
And iMessages. And the same for the 4570 number, correct? If it was in Wi-Fi mode, it could also be engaging in data communications.
That's correct. Any device taken off of the network, as long as you still have internet in Wi-Fi mode, you can use it. I mean, it's basically a computer, right, in the palms of our hand.
Let's go to slide 9, please. Thank you. Can we look at that Home Depot location that you have marked on this slide for a moment? Cell tower CID 740384-8, that's the one with the number 1. That's an AT&T tower, correct?
It is.
And then also cell tower number 3, CID 744408-9. That's also an AT&T tower, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what is that tower directly above the label HD on the map? What kind of tower is that?
That's another AT&T blue dot. So it's another AT&T tower in there.
Okay. And it appears that the blue dot above the HD is closer than the number 3, the cell tower mark 3, correct?
It does, yep.
Do you know why when you're sitting here, and I know you don't have all your information, but do you know why the cell phone may have been hitting off of or pinging the tower we'll call the number 3 tower versus the tower above the HD?
Yeah, so again, remember when I started and we showed pictures of towers, not every tower is created equal, right? So some towers are really tall and some could be really short. My guess is the blue dot above HD is meant to service the traffic as it goes through 80 there and then whatever that cross street is there. So it could be a smaller tower that's meant to cover a smaller area than tower number 3. I don't recall the height of tower number 3 off the top of my head.
But again, as you, I think, testified on your direct, you don't always necessarily hit the closest tower, correct?
Yeah, not always. The vast majority of time we do, but not always.
Can we go to slide 11, please? Thank you. Now, on slide 11, if you look at the box labeled 3, for I guess we'll just call it cell tower 3 at this point, that is the one where the cell phone is pinging off of tower 3, correct? It's connecting to tower 3.
Correct.
And there is that gap between 10:15 and 12:03, correct?
That's correct.
So, all you know from it not hitting between 10:15 and 12:03 is that it's not connecting to that tower, correct?
It's not connecting to any tower during 10:15 and 12:03.
Thank you for clarifying that. Not connecting to any tower. Do you know whether the cell phone is on or off by looking at this data?
Not specifically just looking at those two things, no. But again, I was asked to take a look and analyze the records in its entirety. So between 10:15 and 12:03 is a longer period of time than what was normal for the vehicle, for the cell phone to check in with data sessions. So I can't specifically say that the device is off. All I can say is that that time period seems much longer than normal for the device.
Can we please go to slide 14? Let me ask you about the drive tests. It sounds like, but I want to make sure, are you the one that conducted the drive tests?
I am.
Okay. When did you conduct the drive tests?
It was in 2023, end of 2023, I think October of 2023.
Okay, so approximately, we'll say, 10 months after?
Correct, yeah, it was somewhere on just under a year, correct.
And when you, well, let me ask another question then. The cell towers that you are showing on all of your slides in your presentation, are those the way the towers exist today, back in 2022, in 2023? When are those cell towers in existence?
Yeah, so the towers shown on the maps are all from 2022, November of 2022.
Okay, but the mapping you did was 10 months later, correct?
The drive test.
Drive
Correct,
test. But based on your knowledge, training, and experience, you believe that that drive test would also be accurate for back in this time frame that you're analyzing in late 2022, correct?
Correct, yeah. And part of the reason I say yes is because I review the tower lists from 2023, November time period, to when I drove test, which again, I believe was November of 2022, when the incident is, to when I drove test in 2023. I reviewed those two tower lists to see if there were any changes in the area in which I'm going to drive test. So if there's been a change and now there's 5 more towers in the middle of that area, then doing a drive test would be no good, right? Because we're going to get the things that are today or the time period in 2023, not back in 2022. So I reviewed those two tower lists to make sure that there wasn't any tower changes in both AT&T and T-Mobile in the area in which I drove test.
Okay. And remaining on slide 14, you have the AT&T, which I believe is the vehicle, correct?
It is.
You have the AT&T pinging off the tower 5, at 10:33:59 a.m., correct?
That's correct.
Where within that purple area is the vehicle? At 10:33:59 a.m.
Yeah, I can't say specifically where. All I can say is that it is most likely in the dominant or darker colored coverage area.
So you don't know, looking at this data that you've received from AT&T, that the vehicle was anywhere near where the torso was recovered, for example?
Well, your term anywhere
Okay, let me
near.
be more
Yeah,
specific.
Yeah.
Can you tell whether it was within a mile of there by looking at this drive map?
I can say that it could have been. I can't say with definity that it was. Because
It could
again,
also-
you can.
I'm sorry, I want to let you.
Yeah, because again, you can see the coverage area. So it's somewhere within the darker shaded, most likely, because the other is some overlap area between those two.
And I don't have a pointer that works on this, but it could also be at the southernmost area of the dominant area that you've highlighted in the darker purple, correct?
It could have been, but I say it's probably not, more so because of the activity around these two. So you got 1033 and 1034. Well, it used tower number 4, again, in this slide, the one near Riceboro, which is kind of on the right-hand side, that's tower number 4 right there. So it uses tower number 4 before 1021 and after at 1041. So I would probably put the device in the northern eastern side of the drive test, if you were to ask me based on my training and experience.
But it could be anywhere within the drive test area.
If you look solely at the drive test results and not the other things together, then yes, it could have been anywhere within it. But you also have to look at the things on the outside.
I understand.
Yeah.
If we could go to slide 15, please. This is the drive test area for cell tower 4, correct?
It is.
And once again, for cell tower 4, that vehicle that has the AT&T, I guess, modem in it, I don't know what to call it, the AT&T cellular transmitter in it, that could be anywhere within the dominant, or even not the dominant region of, that you've highlighted here, correct?
Correct, yeah. I mean, I would say based on the amount of times and the time periods in between some of those times, it's most likely in the dominant. If it was in the other, we'd probably see it jumping off of other towers if it was in the overlap period, more so. But yes, it could be anywhere within the dominant shaded area.
So cell tower data like this that you're using, it can tell you regions, areas in which the cell tower could be located, correct?
Yeah, that's why with this data, we tend to say general location. I've said it probably 100 times, right? The general location of a device. Because we can't be specific. Correct, yeah, it's not GPS. The phone companies actually don't track your GPS. They don't care where you are with that definitive amount of purpose. Now, an app or Google may, but the phone company is looking at the towers and sectors that you use.
Thank you very much, Special Agent Bernie.
Thanks, sir.
Now redirect.
All right. Thank you, Agent. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If I could see counsel briefly at the bench, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that will conclude today's testimony, but I want to update you on our predictions about the length of this trial. It appears that it's going, and this is based on discussions I've had with the attorneys, we are now optimistic that the presentation of evidence will end in the next couple of days. I can't tell you exactly when, but we think this trial will probably be concluded by the end of the week. I can't guarantee that. I just wanted to bring you up to date. And with regard to scheduling, we have a couple of witnesses that are traveling in from out of town tomorrow. So based on the schedule that the attorneys have indicated to me, you can come in a little later tomorrow. So if you would be here tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and that will give us time to have some of these out-of-town witnesses get here. So have a good evening. Again, I ask you to please abide by the instructions with regard to access to media accounts, and we will see you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. All right, the jury's out. We're adjourned until tomorrow morning. Thank you.
you swear upon the testimony you're going to give will be truth?
Yes.
You can lower your hand. Mrs. Nicholson, you understand that you have, under the Constitution, a right to conflict-free representation. Do you understand this?